Hey, ADK Performance Community, it's Colin bringing you this week's Coach's Corner. This week we're going to talk about static stretching. Pretty popular. It's become a little less popular since when I was an athlete, maybe 15, 20 years ago. We used to spend a lot more time doing static stretching. We don't do as much because there was some research on static stretching impacting performance and especially power. That can be mitigated by doing a dynamic stretch. And a lot of times it's uncomfortable. All right, so we got to think about what is your athlete going to do. Most athletes don't love doing long holds for 60 seconds. Now our athletes' attention span is a bit shorter than maybe when we were younger. So getting them to do the static stretching is a challenge. So we got to think, if we're trying to improve range of motion in our athletes, we got to think, how do we get them to do what we want them to do? There's a couple other things we like to work on. We love foam rolling. Having athletes who are growing, especially if their bones are growing, those muscles and tendons are all getting stretched out, and they can be stiff and they can be hard to move. We like to have them foam roll out so that they can chill those muscles out, work on some of their nervous system inputs to help relax the area. If you want to add in some static stretching, sure, there's a lot of great stuff you can find online. We like working with mobility drills. So we do a lot of Spider-Mans, downward dog positions, sumo squat to hip lifts. We're moving through a range of motion and we're putting a lot of muscles on stretch, but we're also asking the body to activate. We find that is the best way to improve our athlete's motion. When we look at another great way to increase range of motion, and it may not always may seem a little counterintuitive, is loading. All right, having an athlete load up in a squat and drop down into that squat position under a little bit of load is going to help stretch out some of those areas, going to help work on the mobility. A lot of times when we see some flexibility issues in our athletes, it's less so of a tissue length. Now, some of our athletes definitely have that, but a lot of it's core stability and their ability to time things up, and they just don't have the motor control to do so. So we do like static stretching. We definitely like it at the end of the day as a recovery tool. It's hard to get athletes to do it. So that's where using mobility exercises, yoga's got a lot of different ones that you can incorporate. That's a really good way where we're working a little bit of stability, mobility, flexibility, all at the same time. So we're fans. If you need help with your athlete's mobility, strength, power, or any physical traits that they want to improve on, reach out to me. We'd love to have your athlete come in, try out a session, and get them going.